This is the Aftermarket Radio Network. Hey everybody, Carm Capriato, Remarkable Results Radio, celebrating our 10th year. March of 2015 is when we started, and we realized that nothing's more powerful than an idea whose time has come. And we're always here giving you great episodic education. We got some great sponsors that are with us, and we're so appreciative to them. Hey, take your auto care center to the next level, the gold level, with the NAPA Auto Care Gold Certified Program. This program is for the best of the best who can provide a consistent consumer experience and earn the trust of returning and new customers. Talk to your NAPA sales representative about how you can become a gold certified shop. Hey, for over 30 years, NAPA Trax has made selecting the right shop management system easy by offering the best, most comprehensive SMS in the industry. We'll prove to you that Trax is the single best shop management system in the business. Find NAPA Trax on the web at napatracs.com. Also, thanks to aftermarketmanagementnetwork.com for information that can help you move your business ahead, and for the free and informative laborratetracker.com. I've got a great episode here for you today. You know, we as people, as an industry, we've got issues with life's challenges, and we face them every day. We also like to get hear stories told to us that help us relate and navigate the challenges that these life's issues bring us. And with me today is Margaret Palango, CEO of Autoshop Solutions. She's here for some life lessons learned in her journey with leukemia. Tracy and I were down in Raleigh and met with Margaret a while back, and we have known Margaret for many years, but she finally gave us an inside look at how she faced her incredible challenge, and we asked her if she would be kind enough to share it because I think we can all learn from it. So AML, I don't know what that is.
Carm, first of all, I want to thank you again for having me on, and congratulations again on 10 years. I remember when you started. I remember the first time I met you, and it was in 2015. So it's a true honor to be here with you today. Thank you for allowing me to share my story. AML, acute myeloid leukemia. It is a very aggressive form of leukemia, different than other types. And that acute nature is exactly what it means. And it is dangerous, and it is something that has to be fought harder than most types of blood cancer.
I've never known you not to have a smile. Your attitude probably helped you get over this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Attitude is everything. So a little bit of background, if I can, just kind of set the stage of being diagnosed. I was diagnosed in May of 2023, and it came completely out of the blue. And that is another trait of acute myeloid leukemia, there is no warning. The doctor said, if I had tested you 2 weeks ago, there's a high chance that this would not have shown up, right? So that acuteness is what makes it so challenging, and the challenge to stay positive. And when I was diagnosed, I did not feel bad for a long period of time. It was maybe a week. And I was going through, I had a sore in my mouth and going multiple times to the dentist. And the pain just kept getting worse. And they did not see anything dental wise. And, I was like, something's wrong. So I then made an appointment with my primary care doctor, but I couldn't even get through the night. This was after about just under a week of trying to deal with this. I had a night where I was like, no, I can't even sleep with all these medications. Something is not right. Hey, so like 6 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, we drove to the emergency room. In my head, I'm like, somebody please just give me antibiotics for this sore in my mouth, right? This is all I'm thinking. And they did the scan. They did all these tests. They were like, there's this problem, but there's no other infection. What's happening? They took some blood work. And immediately the doctor came back in and said to me, Margaret, sorry to tell you this, this is presenting as leukemia. You have cancer. And I just went, you're in shock, right? And I'll tell you what I said. I said, what did I do wrong? Of course, I did nothing wrong, but this is what you feel, right? You feel like, what did I do wrong? And it was so fast. Again, this word acute myeloid leukemia, it was so fast that my body was rapidly deteriorating. My white blood cells were attacking. They were what they called it blasting, is what the terminology is. And I had no platelets left and my white blood cells were just blasting at 1,000 times their normal. And so it was like immediate. They took me by ambulance to Duke Medical Center in Durham. So one of the overarching themes I want to communicate throughout this podcast is the fact that it's one point in time, something bad happened, but ever since then, it's only been blessings. And I really want to communicate that because that's where the magic is. And back to your question about how staying positive, right? I'm really answering that question through looking at this timestamp of, okay, I got this diagnosis, boom. But then there were only blessings ever since. And one of those blessings was the proximity of the Duke Medical Center, only 30 minutes from where I live. And my oncologist, who is specialized in treating specifically the type of leukemia that I had, the acute myeloid leukemia, he speaks all over the world about this treatment. And the treatment that I had only been in use for about 18 months prior to me going through this. So really, like you look at it and yes, something bad happened. And I had a choice of how to react. I chose to stay positive. I chose to keep seeing every single day the blessings that continue to unfold in what is otherwise a very traumatic situation.
Margaret, wow, what a story. Right place, right time, right doctor. I mean, you couldn't have asked for anything better. What was the navigation of the treatment like? I mean, how often, how much? I'd just love to know that.
Yeah, that's, again, the part of this disease that's different. Sometimes you hear different people getting diagnosed with cancer, you get a diagnosis, you have a consultation, you have a plan, all this. With this type, it is, no, you're going by ambulance to a bed and you're getting put on a certain medication by the end of the day. I was in the ER room at Duke and, the decision was, are we going to a hospital room or are we going ICU? I mean, my body was shutting down. My body was days away from organ failure.
I got to stop you for a moment. And the thing that it just is encompassing me is that you had this story that you didn't ignore in your mouth and you felt deeply. We do this all the time. Oh, it's just a burn. It's just a bump. It's just a lump and it'll go away. They've gone away in the past. And I think the beauty of this story that I want our listeners to hear is in today's world, you can't ignore anything. And if you had, I don't think we'd be doing this right now.
You're right. You have to know your body. And when something's not right, take care of it. Tell somebody, go to the doctor, whatever that action is. If it doesn't feel right, act on it. If it's nothing, that's great. That's what you want. But don't let it linger. Don't push through the pain, so to speak. It is not going to serve anybody. Me getting the help I needed immediately was crucial to saving my life.
You've got to be the bestest advocate that I know to get out in front of people and say, the speech is called Don't Ignore It, or the speech is called Pay Attention.
Pay attention.
Because I love to say that word. I love the words pay attention. A mentor of mine years ago always put his arm around me and said, Carm, he'd say, Carmy, pay attention to everything, your business, your life, your family, all that stuff. And that's the greatest part of this story. Pay attention to yourself, your body.
Pay attention and say something and act on it. And Don't ignore it.
So you had a choice to go to what, ICU or where else?
Fortunately, they gave me some medication right there in the emergency room. And then I was able to get a bed, right? So that was on a Wednesday. By Friday, I was on a 24/7. So listen to this, a 24/7 chemo regimen. 3 different types of chemos, but it was around the clock with no break because they needed to attack what was happening to my body. Prior to that, the one day on that Thursday, they ran all these tests because they need to find out how much they can give you of the chemo, and they give you the maximum they can. That's where being in good health is crucial. And so it's funny because I would tell the nurses, I'm sitting there, I'm a healthy person. I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand why I'm here. I'm healthy because overall I was healthy. I'm not like this health nut, but I was healthy, strong, right? I eat fairly well. I take care of myself generally pretty well. So, and that's why I kept saying to them, I'm not a sick person. Why am I here? But this was something just out of my control.
Your body pushed a button and it happened.
But by being healthy and by having taken care of myself, I set myself up for success again for the fight. I set myself up for success for the fight.
Okay, so you're in a 7/24 regimen of chemo. I know that you're a positive person. What did you do to keep your mind at a level of, I'm going to beat this? Tell me, how did you do it?
Well, my husband's a big part of that. He's a very positive person, and he was right there with me by my side the whole time. So that's huge. At Duke, they're just fantastic. I can't say enough about their team. So I asked a lot of questions. You can imagine, right? Here I am coming out of my day-to-day is running a business. So I'm always, debriefing, asking questions, getting read in on stuff, right? Making decisions. This is my pace, right? So go. Right. I get extracted and put in this hospital bed. So I'm asking 1,000 questions. So what are we doing next? What do we do with this? And so I'm asking these questions as I would if these are my team members, okay, we've got a problem to solve. How are we going to solve it?
I love it.
And they were phenomenal because they had all I say they had the answers, but they're like, okay, this is the protocol. When, you're here for this. So we're going to do this, this, and this. And these are the potential things that can happen. And if this happens, we're doing X. And if this happens, we're doing Y. And they were so open with me about walking through it. And I adopted all of them as my team because that's what we were. And I said to them, I said, we're all a team. And I said, and I'm part of the team. What do I need to be doing while I'm here?
I love that part.
And they all kind of, looked at me. I'm like, we're going to do this. And I got to get better as quickly as possible. And I got to get out of here and back to my beautiful life, which I have a beautiful life. And so what are we going to do? And part of the team, what do I need to do? And they're like, okay, you need to walk. You need to, and they told me, you need to stay positive. You need to this. They told me what I need to do. I said, good. And then they were doing everything they needed to do. And it was really a team effort. And I stayed social. Fortunately, the nurses were very nice. And so I got to know all of them and chatted with all.
You were like the CEO of this treatment almost.
Well, they all knew it. They all knew what I did professionally. And so other nurses would come in and talk to me about stuff. You want to know a funny little side note? I did a bit of mentoring while I was there because it sort of happened. There were a lot of the nurses were in that 23 to 30 age range. And, especially the night nurses, you come in, they talk to you and you just talk about life. And I found myself talking to them and them asking me questions and it was actually it was therapeutic for me too. I continued my personality, right? Making connections, being social. I just continued that. That kept me here. That kept me high. I say high, but that kept me elevated and not.
No, I know what you mean. You were on top of your game.
And not getting down in the dumps. Okay, Carmen, they also gave me some good medication to help with that too. What I went through was tremendous.
EVs and other high voltage vehicles are changing the automotive landscape. Is your shop ready? With more than 16% of these light-duty vehicles on the road, you will have many opportunities to service them, but you must do safely and properly. Get your shop trained and equipped to service hybrid and EV vehicles with NAPA Autotech's innovative EV-ready Level 1 high-voltage awareness and maintenance training. This 4-day program is held in a fully functioning EV repair facility with all the latest high-tech equipment and technology needed to train your technicians to go from an EV maintenance tech to an EV battery service tech after completing the entire program. This 4-day program is held in a fully functioning EV repair facility with all the latest high-tech equipment and technology needed to train your technicians to go from an EV maintenance tech to an EV battery service tech after completing the entire program. Each topic starts with intensive classroom training, followed by in-depth, hands-on practice, and students are tested on the knowledge they gained in the classroom. Technicians will learn on various hybrid and EV vehicles such as Tesla, Toyota, GM, Ford, Hyundai, and Nissan. This will allow them to make educated decisions on equipment needed in their own shop to perform repairs. This course is on site at the NAPA Automotive Research Center in Canton, Ohio. Attendance requires ASE 6 certification, EPA ASE 609 certification, and at least 5 years of shop experience. The total cost is only $4,000 per attendee, which includes the 4-day course, hotel, breakfast, lunch, and the PPE needed to perform the services. Now, if you're a Gold Certified Auto Care, you can use your Gold marketing funds to offset the cost. Hey, don't miss out on this invaluable opportunity to advance your team's skills and ensure your shop is EV ready. Contact the NAPA Training Service Center at 800-292-6428 to secure your spot. Let's face it, your shop management system is the single most important tool in your shop, period. NAPA Trax was built from the ground up to make your business more profitable and efficient. We provide an extensive set of tools to increase and track profitability in real time. NAPA Trax offers the industry's best post-sale support, hands down, and we train your people on site. Yep, on site. And we offer remote refresher training 10 times a week, and customer support is open 6 days a week. Give us a call, visit the website, or join our Facebook community today to learn more. We'll prove to you that Trax is the single best shop management system in the business. NAPA Trax is always customized and tailored for you, whether you're a one-man shop or a large multi-bay or multi-location company. After all, it's your shop, so it's your choice. Visit us on the web at NAPATRAX, that's NAPATRACS.com. Hey, did you know at AutomotiveManagementNetwork.com you can find an SOP, a checklist, forms, along with policies and procedures that can help you move your business ahead? Well, sometimes you just need a little motivation to write a policy if only you had something to review and then make your own. You can save so much valuable time when you can grab a document from our library, make a few adjustments for your shop, and move to your next task. There are more than 350 searchable documents, with new documents arriving soon at AutomotiveManagementNetwork.com. Was it painful? Was the disease painful?
It really wasn't painful, right? And often everyone has said, "Are you in pain?" No, I mean, the first time I was painful in the mouth, like for about a week or 2 weeks afterwards. Still that was recovering. No, there wasn't pain, but the chemo does have things like can make you nauseous and sick. You hear that from other people. And so were there times I didn't feel awesome in that way? I'd never equated that with like pain. You know, they give you anti-nausea. One of the doctors said, you're like a poster child for the pharmaceuticals because the pharmaceuticals they would give me actually I responded well. So when they gave me anti-nausea, it actually worked, right? And so it didn't spend a lot of that time being super ill. I was tired. And if you've ever been in the hospital, it is a 24/7 in and out of that's exaggeration, not 24/7, but it's all day long. Starting at 7 a.m., there's people in and out of your room until about 8 o'clock at night.
What about the 2 p.m. Test the vitals? Did you have that?
Yeah, vitals tested every 4 hours.
Every 4, yeah.
8, midnight, 4 a.m., 8 a.m., it's around the clock, every 4 hours. I was in the hospital twice, once to get the leukemia into remission, and then the transplant. So that was They drew blood at midnight after the transplant in that time period.
Was it a marrow transplant?
I had a bone marrow transplant on August 9th, 2023. I got into remission 6 weeks. I had to do 2 rounds of that 24/7 because the disease load was so high. The first round didn't get it. And because it didn't get it, that was immediate trigger in their protocol and to say, okay, this is now a candidate for a bone marrow transplant, because I'm not going to get into all the medical of it, but I'll just say that was the protocol. So I had the second treatment and I went into remission. So I have been in remission since June 17th of 2023. You cannot have the transplant. You have to be in remission to have the bone marrow transplant. And I went into such a deep remission that the doctor actually called me and said, not only are, these are gone. He's like, I can't find anything. He was so, remember I said back at the beginning, a bad thing happened and only blessings have happened since. The other blessing, my son qualified as a donor, which is ideal. And then on August 8th, he did the donor cells, which is like a blood transfusion these days. It's not anything more invasive. He sat for 5 hours, but blood goes out, blood comes in. They get that ready. The next day I receive it through a portal that I have in my chest. So it's not like a surgery. It's very anticlimactic, but it is. Before that one, they give me the highest chemo possible. That's why they had to do so many tests, because they pretty much they almost kill you and then they bring you back. That's the protocol for a transplant. And again, that goes back to my consistent good health. And when they were doing that test, the doctor said, you've got a ticker of a 25-year-old, right? Like the heart, right? Like staying healthy allowed me to have the highest level chemo possible, which scared me, but you have to stay strong and know that means the highest success possible on the other end of everything taking. And with it, my son being the donor and his matched up so highly.
Margaret, if it wasn't your son, would the search have been longer?
Might had to have another round of chemo to keep the disease at bay, because the disease goes at bay. But the reason you have a transplant is because it comes back, right? It comes back.
Out with the old and in with the new. Okay, you're tested how often to be sure that you're free of AML?
I go about once a month and they have blood work, right? But I'm be going in May to have another bone marrow biopsy. The last one I had was in November of 23. So that's post-transplant. Everything was perfect and fantastic. And I got to ring the bell, the whole thing. So really, that was success. The recovery from a transplant is a long journey. It's a long journey.
How many months?
I would say I'm still recovering in a way. Just probably in the past, since the first of the year, did I get more energy. I wasn't able to even get through a full day without a nap. I've been doing that now, but that's only recent. And so 1 year is a certain marker, but I did have some other things that were lingering. Again, transplant, there's lots of side effects they tell you about. There's lots of things that can happen. Again, back to that only blessings. I've had the minimal on all of it, Carm. I'm ahead of the curve for the average transplant patient.
Is it because you caught it so early? Your positivity?
Positivity is a lot of it. Positivity, support. There's a lot of, and my general health going into it. I'll tell you 2 mental strength things that helped me through it. The first on the mental strength when I was diagnosed is I said to myself, okay, I've been diagnosed, but I am not a cancer patient. I am not a victim of this disease. This is something I was diagnosed with. And what we are doing is working every single day to get this out, to remove this disease. This disease, I was diagnosed and we are getting it out. And that's all that I thought about. Everything we're doing is getting this disease out. We're getting it out and moving on. And eye on the ball, eye on the goal, remission. That's all I thought about every single day. This does not belong to me. This is not who I am. I am healthy. And so disease cells don't belong to me. This disease doesn't belong to me. Getting it out. So that was one thing. That worked along with all medication, along with all the chemo. The second mental strength I went through was having the transplant. And that's so scary because you have to sign your life away. And I'm going to share one statistic that I did not speak out of my mind until I was at least 1 year, 1 year past. Only 70% of the people survived the transplant in that first 30 days. Okay. You put that aside. I had the strength of, my husband was fantastic. We haven't even touched on how the support I had, which was phenomenal at every level of my life. But I want to finish with this statement about my son and the fact that the transplant cells were coming from him. My strength came from that self-talk of these cells belong to me. These cells, I created these cells, and now they are coming back to me. Because transplant, of course, it's that rejection fear that the body's it's going to reject it, right? And I'm like, no, that's not possible. This is my self-talk. Medical, you can say whatever you want, but I'm telling you how I got through it. These cells belong to me. I created them. I had my son. And now those cells, which were once part of me, are now coming back to me. And that's what I held the strongest thought in my mind every single day.
Wow. You were on the 70 side. You had a very positive outlook because the cells were coming back to you. What a mental picture you created.
Felt beautiful. And that's what I said. This is a beautiful thing. Again, going back to that Carm, one bad thing happened and it's only blessings ever since. It's only blessings.
Every time I hear you say anything, I hear the word leadership. And I know you were always a great leader in the business, but to grab onto that thing like a CEO would, okay, all right, let's get over this thing. What are we doing? You're doing this and you're doing this. And I love that idea. Let's do that. And come on, give me stuff that we can work with.
I did. And I was like, I'm part of the team. What do I need to do? Right. And we're going to do this together. And I dare say it made it fun. Fun is not really a word that you experience in your hospital, but I would say definitely made the most of it. Acceptable,
maybe. Yeah.
And it definitely made the most of the situation. I was not depressed while I was there. It was tough. Again, I had some, they give you meds too, but really I was so focused on the procedure and the process. I didn't do a lot of self-processing of, oh my gosh, I actually could die, or oh my gosh, this could, I didn't even allow myself to go there because I couldn't. And also knew it's not my time. It was not my time.
See, I love the attitude. The attitude is, it's not my time. I love that.
I kept telling them, I've got a beautiful life to get back to. I've got too many things to do.
Let's talk about that support that, you have threaded the entire, my son, my husband, my peoples, my team through there. And for people that are being faced with this kind of life-changing challenge that isn't a CEO like you, Margaret, and, we're just plain old everyday, get it done, life-loving people. You don't have to be a CEO to do what Margaret did. You just need to please share this with people that that may be going through these challenges and let them realize that the person that can't go through this alone. Yes, they can go through this alone. You could watch them go through it alone, but they need you.
They need you. Everyone needs support, and support comes in all different ways. And, if you are faced with this challenge, look to the people, look to your family, your friends, your coworkers, because I guarantee you there will be an outpouring of support. There was a tremendous outpouring of support. I kept some things private. I did not share this on Facebook. That was intentional on my part. I knew support would come, and that was almost like an overwhelming, like I can't manage all that, right? So I'm like, I can only manage what I'm managing, because while I wasn't in any pain, I was tired a lot, like the energy, it was tired. So the support comes from my husband every single day, my kids, my parents, my family, my friends, and my team. And I really want to share this message for all of those. We're in the automotive industry together. We're all running in businesses, working within businesses. And it is that support of my team and the team that over the years we've built, that I could take that piece and say that piece is going to be okay because I have a very, very strong leadership team I work with. And every single one of them stepped up and went above and beyond anything I could have imagined. We stayed in regular communication, but I can tell you that they rallied for me and supported me in everything, every day. It's hard to even explain how that actually worked. But a couple things to that point that I do want to make, Carm, about your teams and about even like my individual role. Because if you think about it, I was extracted, and I use that word very deliberately, extracted from my role. So there was a hole there, and they were able to fill the hole first because they're all incredibly good people and incredibly competent, but also because we do planning together. We do quarterly planning. Now, this happened in May. So we had done our Q2 quarterly planning already. Everybody knew what the plan was and what we were focused on for that quarter, right? So it was not oh no, what do we do now? What's Margaret working on now that like, I got to figure all that. No, everybody knows because we're working together all the time on these goals. So I drop out, they know how to fill in. And I think that message really transcends not only at a high level, but at an everyday level in everyone's daily job of your coworkers knowing, whether it being cross-trained, the communication, knowing what you're doing. And if you get extracted, that somebody can fill in, that a team, that it might take 4 people to cover that, right? But whatever it is, your team around you, your coworkers, we know what you do, what you're responsible for, and that sharing of what you're doing and the sharing of the common goals. Because stuff happens in life unexpectedly, right? Unexpectedly, things can happen. And how does that keep going for everybody left at the office or left at the shop, right? How does that keep going forward? Because everybody also, if it's something like an illness, they're also sad and upset and they want to do something for you, right? And filling in and having that cross-training, training somebody to do your job. Don't be afraid of those things because you never know. It makes the team stronger when there's cross-training and involved. It makes the whole team stronger. And also it allows all of us to take a vacation now and again, which we all really need to do to take care of ourselves, and making sure that everybody can easily, without running around, oh no, if someone's gone, what do we do now, right? It needs to be that preparation that when some member of the team takes vacation, things don't fall apart. So I had that in place, especially through our management team, of what each other is doing. I just cannot say enough about Autoshop Solutions and our leadership team. You know, Tony Mercury specifically, Sarah Duff was my marketing manager, director of marketing at the time. Just all of these people coming together and rallying. And I know they were cheering me on every step of the way.
Sure they were. You know, we were there, Tracy and I. What a beautiful facility, great team. We met so many wonderful people. We loved the environment that you guys work in. And I think I remember hearing a radio station, WWMD, playing in the background. And that would be What Would Margaret Do? Right?
I guess so.
What would Margaret do? Okay. She'll be proud. We'll do this.
To that, yes. My team's incredible.
As much as you didn't plan this to happen, you planned life in a world of what would Margaret do. But they all had their assignments and they filled them.
They all know the direction. They all know what we're doing. They know our culture is very strong within the business. I mean, that's everything I was just kind of saying about covering for each other. It really comes from that strong company culture and establishing that and maintaining that. And that doesn't happen overnight, right? That takes years with our founder starting that culture with, Danny and I working together way back when and founding that culture and continuing it on and always hiring the right people to support that culture.
So impressed with your story and the little slap upside the head you gave all of us in the industry about take some time for yourself, take a vacation, let your people do their thing. And your story, it's a story you don't want to tell about having this greatest life's challenges put in front of you. It's not like planning to go leave for a vacation and see how well they do. It's a completely different thing, but it's still, if you will, an exercise that we need to plan just in case, the old story is you get hit by a bus or, hey, guys, I'm not going to be back for 3 months. Something's happened. Woe is us. What do we do now? We've done episodes on the green, the yellow, and the red envelopes as to what happens with family, what happens with business if this kind of thing happens. But I just find that the stories that you've told here can resonate within our industry. Well, this won't happen to me attitude needs to kind of go away because we as an industry, Margaret, will never do anything to become more professional, to grow our business, to grow our people, to bring continuing education to our people if we don't do something about it. And I think the life's lesson here is, Margaret, you did something about it. Every decision you made on that day you found out that you had acute myeloid leukemia. Did I say that right? Myeloid?
Yes. AML.
You had plans, even though you didn't know that you were ever going to have to use them.
That's right. We have plans and that's putting the right people in place and trusting your people. And also but practicing delegating, practicing growing that team and doing these, even though you can do it yourself, delegating and helping so that your team members have that growth experience, doing that and practicing that, regularly throughout the business cycle, right? Giving these team members chances to say, okay, you try this now. And I'm right here. You try it. This is something that you can learn and grow and something that you can do. And I'll be right here to help you and making sure that the team around you is always growing. That's how I was able to, with confidence. I did not stress about that piece. And that it was huge not having to stress about that piece. It was a huge part of my recovery.
Wow, that's such a great point. Yes.
Because I didn't have that stress. I knew they were confident. I knew I trusted them and that they could take it. That would be handled, which allowed my energy and focus to focus on me, staying positive and getting better. It's everything that people say, like, we got this, you take care of yourself, right? People tell you that. And it was true. And I knew it. I didn't have to just go, okay, I think I'll trust you. No. I knew it.
No matter your role in life, as a parent, as a spouse, as a business leader, as a manager, as a specialist who works in the bays, no matter, these are just tremendous, tremendous life's lessons.
They are.
Wow.
They are. And thank you, Carm, for really letting me share that, because this is let's say, just a real world example of things that I think we've all sat through at conferences and learning about leadership and team building and delegating and trust. You hear all those, in theory, and you know what you're supposed to be doing. And this was put into practice. And Carm, it worked.
If there was ever someone if I ever needed a jolt in positivity, you're the first call I'm going to make.
I got you.
I know. I am a, frankly, very positive looking individual. Just give me a challenge, I'll figure it out type of person. And I think I became better at that later in life because, you know what happens in life? These challenges mount up. This whole fail forward thing of leadership, learn, figure it out, what's next. Not that I would ever wish something as tough as you had. And again, Margaret, part of the storyline here is if I was going to experience my own positivity by myself to get through a struggle and I didn't have any support, I think it would be harder.
It would be so much harder. I can't imagine. My husband showed up with a coffee for me every single day. every single morning.
That's what I would want.
He came around 8:30 every single morning and brought me a coffee. Now I'd already had the yucky hospital breakfast. But really it's that support every day. I had friends who texted me every single day and without saying, and it wasn't, how are you doing? Like, give me an update. It wasn't that. It was, you got this. Have a great day. Stay strong. Have a great day. I didn't have to answer a million text messages, but I got them. It was the team, my whole team. They sent me cards and messages and words of encouragement. And that's what I needed. And I think earlier I said, I'm not a victim of this. I didn't want anybody to feel sorry for me. I needed people to cheer me on. And that's exactly what I got, is people cheered me on.
Enough said. Margaret Palango, CEO of Autoshop Solutions, thank you for sharing this incredible story.
Thank you, Carm. Thank you for the time today.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time.